Bill Bachman here with another blog/lesson for drumworkout.com, brought to you with some love by Firth. This one is on connectivity of strokes/velocity. These titles are just knock them right out, I know. So maybe I'll fine tune that. But connectivity of strokes/velocity. All right. Now get your cerebellum ready. We're going to get cerebral on it. And this is definitely some thinking man stuff. Or woman stuff. Excellent. Okay, safe. All right, so connectivity of strokes/velocity. Here's where the speed of the stroke has a huge effect on the sound of the stroke. So let me give you an example of what we want to do. If we just play eighth notes, we have this. Now, you notice that those strokes connect, okay? They're not stopping in between. And the velocity or speed of that stroke goes so fast that it comes right back to there and it's nice and smooth. Now, if I played faster strokes at the same tempo, we would have this. Okay, now right there, I'm sort of stopping at the top, right? Listen to it again. So that sounds kind of stiff and awkward and forced because I'm playing too fast stroke speed such that I need to pause and then restart. So all that stopping and starting is way more manipulation from me and herky-jerk, things that are going to adversely affect the flow that would naturally happen on its own, okay? So whenever possible in a tempo range, use a connected motion. So let's take this to the next level. I'm going to maintain kind of the opposite side where you'll run into a problem. If I maintain connectivity of strokes and change the tempo, here's what can happen. Got to slow way down. Right now, let me speed it up. Okay, so on both ends, we had a problem. They weren't wrong, but they were just less likely choices. When we went really slow tempo but maintained constant motion, suddenly we barely hold the stick and the strokes were quiet because the strokes were moving so slow toward the drum, okay? Because the volume you get is a matter of force. Force is mass times velocity squared. Velocity squared is the way bigger effect, so a slower stroke is going to be way quieter. Okay, we got that out of the way. So we're not going to want that. So we're going to have to pause at that lower tempo. So if I'm playing here, instead of the connected strokes, I can play higher velocity and let them stop at the top. Okay, good to go. Now I can also stop at the bottom. That's another perfectly good option. I'd probably choose to stop at the top as there's less manipulation and stopping and starting. Why stop the stick down there if the next stroke is coming from up there, right? Unless we all want to look the same in a drumline setting or whatever. Fine, not a big deal. Now, next chunk, I'm going to take this into the molar whip and flop technique. And even though sometimes I want to bang my head against the wall when people just do the set of three, because it's applicable to a million things other than that. There's a heck of a lot more out there. So, but for now, for these purposes, I'll use that molar whip and flop set of three. So, what a lot of people teach is where you really break down that motion. Okay, that's not wrong, but I think that leads to tension because you never learn how to flow. I've never had a student come to me who could play, you know, tension-free and relaxed with that molar whip and flop flow where the wrist muscles are turned off so it's 100% natural, driven by the forearm. Okay? Because they learn, you know, there's too much velocity on that accent. If you hit it that fast with a huge whip, you have to hit the brakes and then start over. All right, so for my money, that's sort of a different approach. That's not the skill set we're trying to learn with the molar whip and flop, right? Right, with that technique. So the constant motion is what you want. You want that stick to stay in constant motion. All right, so the slower you get, the harder it is, the more difficult it is. So you got to barely hold that stick because it needs to keep on moving. Okay, now, this is easier now, right? So You do want that connectivity of strokes, that constant motion when you play molar, whip, and flop. Otherwise, you'll pretty much forever be stiff, as there's some herky-jerks, stops and starts, and extra manipulation. The whole point of this molar thing is the whip and flop is to not use the wrists and manipulate the sticks, to stay relaxed. So really pay attention to the connectivity of strokes and the velocity of those strokes such that they can connect at the tempo you are playing. Yeah, that last one was pretty packed, but those are the details you want to get into to really learn how to play super smooth with connected strokes whenever possible at a really nice relaxed stick heights for the most musical sounds and the most nature and the least amount of you potentially adversely affecting the strokes. So check out drumworkout.com for some serious in-depth steps in the Extreme Hands Makeover on all those, the free strokes, the molar, whip and flops, all that kind of stuff. Cerebellum, right? Come on, how about it? That's some deep stuff. But get into it, analyze it, perfect it, train the habits and the muscle memory, and then forget all about it and just make music. All right?